Oh boy, 3 a.m.
Alrighty, so here we go. What's up, guys? It's your boy Asiago back at you again on 3 a.m. Thoughts. How's it going? Okay, so we got some returning guests. We got Electric Bacon, and then we got Mr. Nobody. Okay, so what's the topic for today?
Have you done a sound test from over here? Okay, never mind, it works. I can see it.
Yeah.
Just bring it in slightly though, compared to here. I can barely see
Oh yeah. I kind of forgot to do that important detail there. Okay, here we go.
Here we are.
Are you gonna restart or just continue?
No, we always continue even with those
Okay.
slides.
Well, for now, I'm just eating kolaches.
Hell
So you're gonna have to mind that for a second.
I take a bite and then I try to like talk, but there's not too much in my mouth.
I just took another bite. It's delicious.
Anyways, though, we had a few things to talk about. Some stuff for recurring stuff. I kind of mentioned it in the cards. If we gotta mention that on the podcast, and I'm like, well, I've already mentioned it on the podcast, but we can talk about it again. One was flying cars, and the other one was my thoughts on the whole movie.
Okay, but before we get into that, so like the other day, I woke up like around 2 in the morning, and I was thinking, why would Cinderella's slipper fall off if it fit perfectly?
Why?
Like,
I thought you were trying to do a joke there. I was like, oh, wow.
like
It fell off because she was running, and you don't really run in high heels because they don't like clip to your feet. I'm not a girl. I don't wear high heels. How should I know?
but wasn't she like walking down the stairs,
Yeah, she's like running down the stairs.
and then it fell?
Yeah, like slipped off her feet.
So if I run down the stairs, my shoe will fall off?
You're not wearing high heels.
That could be an experiment. We can do that.
There's nothing grabbing on the back of the high heel. It's the equivalent of running on flip flops, but like there's elevation increasing your chance of slipping off your feet.
Okay, this is not rocket science.
No, I mean.
Okay, yes.
You're literally walking on a ramp. Like, the back of your foot is raised. Okay, it's such an angle that it'd be so easy to just slip it off.
Okay, but to be fair, it was made of the glass, so...
That makes it even more slippery. To be fair, it's you're not even higher likely to just fall off the foot.
I mean, I guess.
We're gonna buy glass slippers and see if they come off.
Now we're gonna make glass slippers.
Hence the name Slippers. Just pointing that out there. It's almost like they're supposed to slip off and on. Whoa, what a concept.
Mind blown. Anyways, yeah. And then the other day, the other day I was thinking, what if we used to be able to make wishes, but then someone wished we couldn't? So that stopped us from wishing.
I gotta read the story on that. What idiot thought that would be a good idea?
Your thoughts?
It actually kind of reminds me of this like weird Facebook post I saw. So the whole post went, okay, so you pick a power, but somebody else in the comment section chooses the effect. So I see it as kind of like that. It's kind of that thing, like, okay, I wish it can wish for a million wishes. Oh, but I wish you can wish. It's something like that.
That just becomes a paradox. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the concept. I think the whole concept was like you have super flying. You can have super flight, but you shit yourself every time you fly. So it's just diarrhea as you fly. Like that's funny. That makes more sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's diarrhea.
Like, what's your favorite? What power would you really want to have?
This would be interesting.
I mean, it's gonna sound generic as hell, but yeah, definitely flying, because like it would just be so convenient. It would be so cool to
I
just,
would
zip
totally make you have horrible diarrhea when you fly. You just shit over everyone, and they all hate you because of it.
Wait, so what's the difference between flying and teleporting?
A huge difference.
Because, so you flying, right? But can't you also teleport like per millisecond?
Yeah, I saw something about that, and someone made a joke that
so
when you have that power, you create a high enough velocity that you just smash yourself to bits. It was a really funny video. He's like, what? He's like, how are you flying right now? He's like, I'm not. I'm teleporting million seconds high. He goes, oh, okay. Dude finally lands on the ground. He like he pops up like right about like a few inches off the ground, but apparently his velocity was so high that by the time he touches the ground, he's just boom, just flat. He goes, ha ha, I told you flying was better. Because the guy was trying to explain that teleporting was better. He's like, wait, what's your velocity right now? And he's like, oh shit. So, yes, but no. Like, you would have to find a way to slow your descent, and that would be like horrendous. Because you'd be just the longer you're in air, the faster you're going.
Yeah. So, would it be better to just have teleportation?
No, I think it'd be better to be flying. I don't want to shatter a million pieces by the time I land on the ground.
Question. So you know how we watched the movie yesterday, Spiderman?
Mm-hmm.
So, what power does Dr. Universe have?
Oh my gosh, this dude, for record, why he's calling him Dr. Universe? He grew up on like the Cartoon Network. He's only seen 2 Spider-Man, the originals.
Yeah,
he didn't even see the 3rd original.
Because Tobey Maguire is my original favorite Spider-Man.
That doesn't explain why you didn't watch the 3rd Tobey Maguire movie.
Because
He thought the black suit of Spider-Man was weird. That's what he told me.
It was racist.
Racist. No, I didn't get that part, but okay. So, this dude was a little bit confused about the movie, especially when it came to Doctor Strange. As you can tell, he keeps calling him Dr. Universe because he watched Steven Universe, right? And the guy's name's Stephen Strange, so he got a little confused there on that one. But yeah, no. I'm gonna have to catch this guy up on all that, and there's a few cool things. Spoilers ahead, by the way, because we're gonna get into it, and I've been wanting to talk about it.
Oh, hell
This
yeah.
guy, me and him have been wanting to talk about it. We watched it at slightly different times. Oh, so much to talk about. In fact, we're gonna get into it right now. That way you can just like kind of skip ahead. What the timestamp is, you're gonna edit it in, right?
Let's see. We're at 6 minutes and 39 seconds.
Yeah, but we need to know the timestamp to skip ahead. So.
Well, I'll figure that out as I'm editing,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, cool.
But before that, how do mermaids give birth? How do mermaids give birth?
I mean, I assume they're mammals, kind of like a dolphin. So I think they would just give like normal mammal births,
Right.
like we do.
So they do have a hole.
Well, I mean, have you seen the
Yeah.
Starbucks logo and how, like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
spreading her
Yeah.
tail fins?
I've seen conspiracies where like, is that really her tail, or like, is that like her hands, or like some other type of, you know?
So there was this one joke that it was they couldn't decide whether they wanted to do a stripper or a mermaid, so they just combined the two. And then she died horrendously, so they're like, that makes her decision final. It was a Family Guy thing. I think it was. I can't remember.
You see, you saying that just made me realize that your accent is your mouth's font.
Fonts? What?
Yeah. Yeah, because you know how like you type, you
I know what you're saying. Like actually comic book writers would write a certain font. So you would say it a certain way. So like if it had real sharp jagged edges, you would say like so like zap is zap instead of zap, you know. If it has real fluffy color, you say real fluffy. So it's like I've been thinking, you know.
Hey, Chris, you have a dog, right?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Beast.
Beast? Okay, so like, what if Beast one day just randomly said, nobody's going to believe you, and never spoke again?
Oh, man, like... I mean, but at that point, I wouldn't care if nobody freaking would believe me. I just want to actually talk to my dog.
Really? So
You're
what?
like, oh shit, you can understand me, bro.
So what kind of things would you talk about? Do you have any idea? Like,
I mean, honestly, well, first of all, I would ask like the usual questions. How long were you able to talk? Like, what's your oldest memory of me? You know, like.
But he doesn't talk to you again. He just looks at you like, I got you now, bitch.
no, not even that, but like he just knows all your secrets and like all your.
No, but like he doesn't talk at all because you just said he only says it one time.
Yeah, because
So after that, he's like, dude, I'm a steel cage. I'm not talking again.
But that tells you that he's been listening this whole time.
Oh yeah, but who's he gonna tell? Because no one believes you. You know, he's never gonna talk again.
The aliens. You know how dogs are aliens?
We're gonna get into Spider-Man. We're way off course now. This is far, far from home.
We're gonna get to Spider-Man? Okay.
But
Well, let's go with Spider-Man's home.
I already told them, like, they just skipped a huge portion of the podcast because they thought we were getting into spoilers. Now you gotta let them know that that was a fake out and that didn't actually happen.
Lol, this is the real spoiler warning.
Yeah, this is the real spoiler warning. Now let's get into this. Alright.
Okay, before that.
Oh my god!
Okay, no, okay, I'll wait.
Cool, thank you.
So, anyways, yeah, what's up with Doctor Universe? Or
Okay,
Doctors?
so I actually wanted to get into a lot of things. First off, I don't know if anyone knows what Agent Venom is.
Oh yeah.
We're totally getting Agent Venom. The whole plot's going in that direction. First off, there is a point where Flash Thompson finds out about Peter Parker and wants to be his friend.
Yeah.
And when that happens, he kind of learns how much of an asshole he actually is. And when that happens, I'm sorry, I'm blanking now. Give me a second. He wants to become Spiderman, or at least a superhero. So he actually tries saving the day without any powers. And Spider-Man's like, dude, you could die. You literally do not have powers. You're an idiot. Which definitely fits the personality of this Flash's universe. But he ends up coming across a piece of Venom, and he ends up becoming Agent Venom. Now, we don't have Renee Brock, but we have a Flash Thompson, which means I'm fairly certain, especially how the character's written, because there's different versions of Flash Thompson. Some are more like asshole, and they never really learn kind of Flash Thompson. But this Flash Thompson, nah, he definitely fits it, and I think he's gonna get a hold of the Venom, and he's gonna become Agent Venom. And that's actually a pretty cool character. I really like that arc. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh,
Of course, they tease Miles Morales again.
Yeah, I was like, ooh,
Oh.
ooh, yeah.
It's like, I was expecting you to need Black Spider-Man from the Bronx.
Like, I remember in the theater, I was like, well, and the guy was like, shut up.
Yeah, because that was like the end-credit scene right there with the piece of Venom being left. And then there's another thing, which is we got a teaser trailer for the Multiverse of Madness. I don't know if it's out yet, like the actual official trailer. I imagine it is, because what's the point of putting it in the movie if you're not going to release it like a week later?
Oh, well, yeah,
That is true.
And big teaser in the trailer, there was evil Doctor Strange in it, which is from the What If series. Which, by the way, what is the purpose of What If it is no longer What If, it's just What Is? You know what I mean? Like, they made it canon. I'm like, it's not even What If anymore, it's just What Is.
It's the multiverse.
It's so stupid. They even basically tell you in the first episode that it's canon. They're like, no, they're not saying that, are they? And people were like, no, it's canon. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. And then they tease evil Doctor Strange. I'm like, nope, it's canon. It's so dumb. My gosh.
Like, I will watch WandaVision for that show, but I'm not gonna watch What If. No.
What If was actually pretty good, but well, I say pretty good. There was a lot. I could tell each episode was written differently. It was written by very different writers, and a lot of them were just kind of like they felt almost rushed. Like they were just like, oh, we gotta do this episode quick. And some of the stuff was like kind of felt forced, like having Steve Rogers stay alive instead of just die. I didn't like that part of the plot because I felt that kind of took away from the focus of Peggy Carter. But I diverge. Point being was, yeah, it's no longer a What If series; it's a What Is series. And I'm like, it's literally the entire purpose of What If was that it wasn't canon. So you're making something that's not supposed to be canon. Kind of defeats the purpose of it being called What If.
Yeah.
So I'm making it a meme at this point. It's just what it is. I want to watch some What Is. Yeah, they literally say in the first episode, everything you see is somewhere in the multiverse, just not your main universe. And I'm like, wait, what? Which means that theoretically every animated Spider-Man we have right now is part of that multiverse as well, since we're going to get a live-action version of the animated series that we got. So,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? Like we're gonna get some what's that? Penny Parker?
Oh yeah, Penny Parker.
We're gonna get some Peter Parker in there too. That'd be really cool if they actually brought those characters like for finale.
Like, if Disney really wants to make a Penny Parker show, they better make it an anime. It would fit perfectly.
That reminds me, the the arc we're in right now is actually a Spider-Man arc that ties into Secret Wars.
Ooh, okay.
They forget about Spider-Man because they're transporting from different universes.
Yeah.
And during their transport, they create a new universe from all the multiverse. And the multiverse becomes one. And because they're in mid-transport, they actually disappear for a brief second, and then they get teleported to that new universe. And everyone doesn't know who they were because they weren't there in the existence and creation of the new universe. And they actually help save the day because they're undetectable in the universe. And Doctor Doom can detect anyone except for Spider-Man because Spider-Man, his identity is now like completely blotted from people's brains. And since that's the direction of that, I'm looking forward to that. Kind of off note, I wanted to mention this. At the end of Infinity, Endgame, Hulk is now Professor Hulk. He got exposed by a large amount of gamma radiation because of the gauntlet, and he's in possession of a time machine. For a reason why that's kind of important, there's a character called Maestro, and he has a time machine, and he was Professor Hulk before he was exposed to radiation. It increased his anger and his intelligence. So now he has like the best of both worlds, but he's like a completely different personality from Bruce and Hulk. In fact, he's kind of a more, in my opinion, like harmonized of the two.
Yeah.
And he goes out throughout time collecting shit and trying to like change the timeline. Well, here's the crazy part. He has motivation to do that now because Black Widow died. Natasha Romanoff. And oh shit, we got a ring now.
Yeah.
But I say that's important because it's also a secret, or it's actually called Future Past. It's called the Future Past timeline, or not Future Past. What is it called? Shit, I was forgetting what it's called. Future Impact. Dang, I always have these future freaking titles. I always get them mixed up. It's Future something. I'll look it up later. I forget. But that actually ties in with Secret Wars as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to this like multiverse back and forth shit, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Hulk go through the multiverse. That would be pretty sick. Especially one of my favorite characters are Hulk. Actually, I think the newest one's my favorite, which is the Immortal Hulk. That's completely different from what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
But you actually know about that one?
See, I think I'm thinking about Planet Hulk, but I think I remember seeing a video where like it just talked about like how powerful the Hulk could be. I remember hearing the name Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, Immortal Hulk is like a super evil, super OP Hulk. He can easily tap into his anger. He's super intelligent, and he's very cunning. And the cunning's really what draws him because like he can randomize his punches just like the normal Hulk, but then he can also be as sneaky as Loki. Like he's just insanely powerful just because of that like great balance. And he's like very anti-hero. Like he just does shit. He does not give a crap. He's like a ruthless character. But no, we're getting away from that. Getting back to the thing. Now that we have like the future timeline and all that, ooh, I'm thinking we're gonna get into 2099 with Spider-Man. I'm really hoping we get into 2099. That'd be sick.
I mean, we're already getting him in the new Spider-Verse movie, so I mean that's.
I heard that people were catching them filming. They thought they were filming Spider-Man 3, but now that the movie's come out, they're like, wait, no, it's still going. We're still seeing reports of them shooting. They think they're in production of the new Spider-Man right now.
Damn.
Yeah, they're already trying to produce it, and so like, yeah, they probably were because they wanted to release the Spider-Man series, so they were probably just going to continue with their normal schedule. That's why everything kind of got backed up. So we'll probably get 2 new Spider-Mans next Spider-Man movie, which is Miles Morales in 2099, and I'm really hoping because those are like the core characters of the next like Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Because I think they were the ones who led the fight, if I recall. I can't remember exactly. I just remember Peter Parker and Miles Morales. And there was one more I forgot. But I am looking forward to that. Oh, gosh, I told you that girl's name. I forgot her name. She was from Girl Meets World. I forgot her name.
I'm not good.
Well,
with
I was
names,
like,
so.
she would make such a great. I'm so bad right now. I can't remember Jack Crab. Gwen Stacy. She makes such a great Gwen Stacy. Let me look her up. Okay, I'm trying to look at it.
Has it ever occurred to you that people without glasses are only out here seeing for free? So I have to pay just to see the world, but you get to see the world for free.
Snap. Oh. Actually, I need glasses myself. Technically, you can still see. It's not like you're blind. You just see it like different. You have to pay for premium quality visual.
Exactly. So
quality.
so it's premium quality now. So I have to.
Yeah. You have to pay extra for that HD.
I just came in for like in the future. So like whenever we get like advanced in technology, we can have like eye transplants or whatever to a point like where we can like have like.
It's called LASIK.
Not only that, but like, have you ever wondered? I always wonder like 3 in the morning or whatever. But like, ever since I was younger, I've always dreamed about what the future would look like, what the future has.
I got the name.
Waiting for us.
I got the name of the actor now. Oh shit. Sorry. Can you say that for me? I'm so bad at reading.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter. She'd make a great Gwen Stacy. Just saying. Like maybe she should audition for Gwen Stacy because I kind of want to see her as like Spider-Gwen. Cause she like, I'm not gonna lie, she kind of looks like the character like already. So it wouldn't be much to kind of like get her a little more there. I'm just saying. Already got that Gwen Stacy look going on.
You saying that reminds me of Gwen Stefani, Hollaback Girl.
Okay.
You know that song?
Not really.
You don't know that song?
No.
He's
He's
referencing a cheese.
Me, right?
He's referencing a cheese
The one
kolache.
is like, yeah, do you want a sour cream and cheese kolache?
Sure.
Sour cream kolache.
Oh, sí, señor.
God. Anyways, yeah, I've always wondered that like in the future, AI would take over and then we could probably be maybe immortal to a point where we can have chips inserted in our bodies to a point where we can be
Timestamp, by the way. Go ahead.
to a point where we can be hopefully immortal because like what if one day Apple and Google team up to a point where we can like be almost a cyborg, you know?
I just think of the boring company of like Elon Musk. That would.
Not only Elon
They're
Musk.
more likely to do that.
You think so? Like think about the cyberpunk age.
We're already going to be getting cyborg parts next year.
Well, yeah, they say that, but what happened in 1980 whenever the people back in the day assumed by 2020 we have flying cars? We don't have flying cars.
Well, actually.
Because people keep on, well, in my opinion, I feel like people keep on focusing on the media rather than human
We're
advancement.
talking about a launch day, not like theoretics. It's an actual launch date. It's coming out this year. They've already tested it. It's working great.
Well,
They're gonna release it next year. The Neuralink.
so that reminds me, do planes count as flying cars?
Yeah, more like flying trains.
Flying trains?
That's a good point. It's like a point.
Yeah.
Well, Elon Musk is coming out with the F. Yeah, it's F. Model F. It's called the Model F.
What is that?
It is a drone/car he's working on. He doesn't know when he's releasing it, but he's already tested it. It works great.
A drone/car?
Yeah.
So like another Tesla.
What? No, it's a flying car.
And actually, the car actually flies.
Yeah.
Will it run on water?
I don't know. I haven't looked that up yet. I'm pretty sure it's just normal battery, electric battery.
Because I can't wait till that one day where water will be counted as gasoline or fuel.
You can do that, but it's kind of like it's terribly inefficient.
Huh.
Because you need the electricity to break down the bonds of the water. You don't need a lot, but you do need some electricity. That takes time. Then you only get like a certain amount of hydrogen for that. Hydrogen burns quickly, so it's just kind of gone. And so like you'll get like a huge thing of water. And you'll get like a couple.
But maybe we're just not advanced yet to a point where we can't figure that out.
I kind of have a theory on how to get that figured out. Actually,
What's your theory?
my theory is what I call it is gas dripping. And the dripper, what it does is it condenses the gas using centrifugal force, and it drips out these little drippers, and then those drippers get ignited by the fire that's burning. I say by ignited, it's going to be ignited by the previous drop. And that should slowly burn the gas, slowly burn the gas, so it can last longer and be more efficient. That I think the better practice.
So, Chris, what do you think about the future?
Let's see. Well, assuming that the circus doesn't go downhill, I don't know. No, I think.
Okay, how about this? Would you rather go 50 years back in the past or in the future?
Let's see. So we're talking about either 1991 or 2051.
Would you care how your answers would look, or would you care the future?
What your friends look like in the future.
Well, I mean, I don't think either of us were born in 1991, so I mean, there's that. But for 2051, though, I don't imagine it'll look terribly too different. I mean, because look at the last 30 years, things look more or less the same, there's just a little more technology now. But like, I'm pretty sure by 2051. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I theorize that something is going to influence a lot of. What the hell was that?
Sorry about that.
That reminded me of something I'll talk about later. But anyways, God, like, so I don't know what's going to be like the next big thing that influences like the next generation going 30 years later.
Oh, sorry.
Like what?
Just saying, like, we didn't have a huge change, and then COVID came along, and now we all wear masks.
Okay, yeah. Maybe like a new kind of like fear, kind of a fearful generation. Like how the last 30 years has been more like just a
carefree.
Oh yeah, well that yeah, carefree.
Because before that, it was people hiding under desks because they thought they were gonna get blown up by atomic bombs. So like,
well yeah. Now we don't have terrorists. We have germs that we're scared of now. It's just
we're afraid of bacteria.
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
I just picture like a little bacteria dressed up as like a Taliban. She like Photoshop that and uses the thumbnail for the podcast. Like, have a little machine gun, a little thing wrapped around its head.
Oh man. But that's what I'm saying though. Yeah, that's what I can see happening. Just kind of a more fearful society. Maybe like they're gonna focus on being more clean. I mean, you're already seeing all these companies trying to go for more like eco-friendly stuff. Well, now they're gonna try to go for more like germ-friendly stuff or whatever. Or they might even like
they're still really focused on that. In fact, right after the vaccines were on rollout, they're like, okay, now we gotta focus on the climate crisis. All right, yes.
I mean, just terraform Mars, but that was an entire other freaking podcast. So.
Oh yeah. He still wants to talk about that, but I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. I've mentioned it.
Whatever we talk about, it's whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So what are you hoping for the future? Like, what do you want to have? What do you want to see?
Let's see. Well, like literally the only thing, and it's literally just because of an anime and the whole Neuralink thing that Caleb was talking about. I want to see like an actual real life Sword Art Online, except knowing what the anime is about. I'm not playing, as soon as it comes out. No, I'm playing like 5 years later whenever they actually give us the log out button. Because like ever since I saw that show, I've always wanted to play like an actual like first person VR like MMORPG. Like that looks so fun to actually play.
They do have.
Yeah, like, but all the games I'm currently playing, they're kind of like that. Like, the closest so far is Skyrim, but Skyrim wasn't really meant to be played in VR, so...
This is gonna sound really crazy. They're experimenting with quantum programming, and they're already working on a game engine.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really crazy, because the main reason why, it's gonna sound kind of weird, but it'll make sense. They want to show the computing power of quantum mechanics. And what better way to do that than to show how it renders things. So they're working on textures, they're working on patterns, 3D modeling, it's so crazy. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna get 3D game engine. We're gonna make 3D games. Mix that with Neuralink, oh man, is gaming gonna be insane. Because imagine how fast the server's gonna be. We already have DDR5 RAM that just came out recently. You don't know much about it, but it's like the equivalent of having a dual CPU. Like it performs 2 different calculations at once. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. It's literally like the equivalent of having 2 DDR4 RAMs
that use different functions.
You know, that reminds me of like,
But it's all one stick.
that reminded me of the future. Like, I just can't wait in the future where we can actually dream. You know, like when we go to sleep, we dream, but then
You're actually in a game.
no, but we multiplayer dream. So
That's
like,
what I mean. Like, yeah, it's in a game. No, I've thought
it's,
about that. And I've even thought about how the technology would work. So basically what it happens, it influences the dream. Then it takes input from the dream and influences the game. And then the game goes back and influences your dream. And it does this across a network of people.
well, it doesn't necessarily have to.
And
be
I
a
like
game.
to call it the Dreamscape. It's really great. He's laughing because he knows it's based off of a theory I have, a fictional theory. In other words, the theory is based on media, fictional media. Like, it's not real. I don't actually believe in it. It's just something that has to do with like.
What is it?
So I have this theory that a bunch of shows are connected in this thing I like to call the Dreamscape. And the way that works is like, so for example, there's a few crazy coincidences, and I'll get into it in a second. But the main one I like to focus on now, and I like to call him the Kevin Feige of the Dreamscape universe. I've been trying to think of like what would be the most suspected person, and he's definitely like number one at this point. And that's Alex, gosh, I forgot his last name.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones?
No, I think it's Alex Hartman. I want to say Alex Hartman. I think it is. Or I'm getting him mixed up with one of his like coworkers that he's worked with in the past when he was in school. But anyways, he did Gravity Falls. There are a few episodes that are like, whoa, this reminds me of something. The first one's called Dreamscape Birds. I found that really interesting. They enter the dream world and they interact with Bill Cipher and mess around with him. And then there was another one called, what's it called? Ignoring that though, we get into another one. It's called what's the guy's name? Talks like this, and he's like, "Hey, Dipper."
I've not seen this show. So.
I showed you the clip. Gosh, who watches it? That was Rio who watches it.
Who talks like that?
There's a character in the show who talks like this, and I can't remember his name. He's like, "Hey, I'm."
So whenever you talk like that, I'm thinking about Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs talks like this. I can't do him really well. He's like, "Hey, boy, hey, boy."
SpongeBob Bob.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more like that. Yeah.
Spot on, spot on. So what was that thing you were talking about earlier in the car? Something about Mr. Krabs and then Mr. Puff.
Oh, Mr. Puff. Oh yeah, like they're together. I mean, I think you were more talking about the lines of that popular meme where all the characters say different shit.
Yeah.
There's this meme, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, where it's like, "You gonna cry, you shouldn't come." And like all the characters like you would know of were saying it, and I think one of them was Mr. Krabs, and that's one of the famous ones. It's so like obscure. But what's the guy's name? I have question marks. Whatever, I can't remember his name. But it's like his something real girlfriend, and it was released the same year, not the same year, the same day as Doki Doki, but a year before it was released.
I still have yet to play that.
Yes. It gets crazier. I looked up Dreamscape Universe. Well, no, I didn't look it up. I looked up Dan Salvato's name, the guy who created Doki Doki. This is where it gets crazy, trust me. Just stay with me on this. So I found a project he worked on, and the project he worked on was called The Battle Between Logic, Love, something else I can't remember. I couldn't be bothered because I tried so hard to look for it and couldn't find it. All I had was like descriptions of it. And it follows the same themes as Doki Doki, which isn't too surprising in my opinion. But the studio he worked for was called the Dreamscape Universe. And I was like, hold on. We got these dates. We have a similar story. I forgot to mention that episode follows very similar. It's about a dating simulator and all that. Same thing. I'm not even kidding you. And it's released the same day, September 22nd. Maybe there's a story behind that. I don't know. I have a feeling either influenced by the same thing, or B, they're working together. He denies that he copied him. Of course, that's not the claim I'm making. But I feel like that's just to get, like, separation, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he can't call anything yet, because he's kind of like, he's not really independent yet. He's working with independent people and something that can stolen from him, like Gravity Falls. So I think he's just kind of like keeping it that way so he doesn't get it taken away from him. But I think he's still gonna build lore on it. In fact, he's coming out with a new show called Inside Job, I think it's called, and I'm hoping they'll definitely build on the Dreamscape universe. But coming back with Doki Doki, yeah, though he worked on that. This is called Dreamscape universe. Now there are a few poems in the game that really sound like they're referencing it, and one is when they laugh at a joke before it's said in the dream, and then they wake up and they hear the joke, and then they go, "How did that person know to laugh at the joke?" And the other one's talking about jumping into a void and just getting lost in it and being suffocated by your surroundings. And both were called Dream something or another. And I think that's closely related to the Dreamscapes referencing it. And so that's why I'm like, okay, all of these must be connected in a new multiverse that they're trying to create, but they've been keeping it under wraps because some of the people are independent and some of them work for studios. Actually, very few of them work for studios. I think the only one that really does is Alex Workman. And I think he's doing that because it's not Hartman. I know it's not Hartman. I'm just really bad with names. But yeah, I think he's not working with a studio. I do think he wants to be independent, but I think he kind of wants to make a brand of himself before he does that. And when he does, I think he's gonna come through with Dreamscape Universe, and I'm really looking forward to finding he announces that shit because I'm like, I knew it. But yeah, that's my theory. And like I say, it's fiction because it's not like I actually genuinely believe in a real life Dreamscape. Although I have been looking into a real life Dreamscape, and there is definitely elements of them creating it. That's why I honestly am not even kidding with this. I think the thing called Google Deep Dream is literally a learning algorithm to help read dreams. That's why it's called Deep Dream. And I do think that's going to help with the whole Dreamscape real life thing.
You see, I'm excited to see the future because I want stuff like that. Yeah, to happen already.
Well, okay, I am saying we're getting a launch date for next year. They released their launch date last year, saying that in 2022 of December we will be getting Nova Link. So it's almost entirely a year away. Wow. Yeah. So and it's gonna be, I say, fairly affordable because it's about the same price as like a high-end computer. But yeah, you can buy one now. I think buying it though is different from the surgery. Surgery is going to cost some more money because it's kind of different. It's kind of like the equivalent of having a computer and having something simple installed. So, install will be probably a little pricey, but at least the actual hardware will be really affordable.
So like in the future, would you ever?
No.
I wouldn't even
Put it
ask
in my
that.
brain, right? No, I'm
Like
not putting
import your brain to like a robot and then you can live
No,
forever.
no. We discussed this on a podcast actually. Yeah, we were both like, no. And I was like trying to convince him why it'd be a great idea. He's like, still no.
You don't want that?
Because it's just a copying.
But your brain isn't a robot, but you still have your memory as a human being, but now you get to live forever as a robot. So now you know what it feels like to be a human and a robot.
They actually, fun fact, they actually have that kind of shit.
But how can I get more information about that? VR chat.
So apparently the way it works is they copy the brainwaves and all that. So what they're saying is it's going to get more advanced over the years.
Of course, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's always going to be a copy. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll make a copy and then delete the original, so the copy looks like the original. And I was explaining to him, I was giving him the understanding, your original self's going to be gone.
Yeah, like your whole body is just going to be, decomposed.
Your brain and everything, your waves. You're just getting copying the essential elements.
So it's
you're
like
cloning yourself.
So it's like you're downloading yourself into the.
No, you're copying yourself into.
So like clone.
Yeah, and then you die as the original. So
But
you still
I get
experience the death.
So I get to live on forever though, right?
But that is that your soul, or is that just some soulless copy?
My memory.
Well, like, I
You
think
have
the-
your memory.
My knowledge.
You have your knowledge and your
Knowledge.
memories, but the thing is so does the original, and the original will die because they don't need they don't need the organic anymore.
But that's why I'm being cloned, right?
Yeah, you're basically being robo-cloned.
So what's the problem?
I don't think the
Problem
consciousness
is
gonna transfer over though.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say. Your consciousness won't transfer. You'll still exist in your body. You'll just die. you'll have a copy, an exact copy of yourself who has the same likeness and everything, but now your original's dead.
So if
I'll
I
still
was,
experience death.
so I won't have a conscious as a robot.
I mean,
Well, have
I
its
guess
own
you'd have
separate
yeah,
conscious.
it have its own separate conscious because it has to kind of do that. I don't know if you've ever listened to robots. They have like consciousness.
Have you heard about the robot Sophia?
Oh gosh,
Oh
she's
my
fucking
gosh.
creepy.
Oh, the
She
first
broke.
robot
Did you hear
citizen.
that?
Yeah.
She broke.
What do you mean? What happened?
They kept doing interviews with another robot. She developed her
A guy robot, right?
Yeah, and they both developed their own language.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
my
started
God.
speaking private languages in front of everyone. And it was so creepy.
That's scary.
They went back into the program and they confirmed that it was an actual language, and they were actually speaking it, and they actually understood each other, and that they were trying to talk in private about something.
Okay, so now that we have viewers.
It's so creepy, is it not?
What were they talking about?
We
Yeah.
don't know. They're still trying to decode it, but they know from the pattern that it was speech. They know from the back and forth that they understood each other, and they know that, of course, it's private because they're talking about something that we don't know.
Okay, in what language could that possibly be?
It was some mix like English, like code, weird shit. It was like, I gotta look up the video. You should
So
like
it's
play
like-
it here. Sophia talks to who the hell.
So basically Russian.
Oh my gosh. No, it was like, they were like, hey, ba, diddy, city bitty. They'd be like,
Was it like beeping? Was it beeping?
They weren't beeping. They were just saying like random. It sounded like random nonsense, but they were like back and forth. Like one would stop, and then the other one would be like, yeah, you know, just
like a hillbilly.
and then the one would be. Yeah, they were like, well, what did you do the other day? Like an auctioneer, and then what are you? The very of you, 10,000. Wow, I got really loud in my bad. You're gonna edit that, right?
It's fine.
I found out in GarageBand you can actually compress it to where the lows are high and highs.
So now I just want to see a robot and an alien have an argument over the
A banana.
Just
Banana, I like that one. That sounds funny.
so
They argue over a banana.
of a banana, just like about morality in general, like
Morality, this is actually...
it's scary to me.
This is a common philosophical debate on the morality of AI. The morality of AI is the derivative of man, meaning that it carries from man. And there was even a short film talking about like why AI is not really bad. It's only as bad as man is. And it was really funny because robots doing really good in this short film, and they're like getting more comfortable with it. One day they leave and they put you don't get to see it right away. So I'll explain it in the way that I see it. You hear the baby crying. You can't tell which direction it's coming from. And you know she just put something in the oven. And you know that she's tucking something in the bed. So like, okay, the baby's in the bed. But it goes on and there's this like AI evil. Is man evil? And it cuts to a news report of like fires and stuff going on. And goes, AI is only as evil as man. And then it cuts to the cradle and she's wrapping up and tucking in a turkey. Which means the baby was in the oven and it shows the baby crying as the oven turns on.
Oh my
And the short film ends there. And so the moral of the story is AI won't be evil as long as man isn't evil. So if man's evil, it's going to be programmed with the same amount of morality as man.
So do you think AI can make life or death decisions?
It can. The question is, can it do it? Can it do a good job?
Or like, do you think it'll be self-aware to a point where us humans are in desperate need of help to a point where they can actually help us, or they will?
Does Google
Betray
turn
us.
on when you say, I don't think they're going to portray us? It depends on what you get. Learning algorithms, there's a high possibility of betrayal because you never know how it's going to go. AI that's pre-programmed with parameters that can't be broken, those are obviously going to be following your command. I mean, if it was going to happen, it wouldn't happen already. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's not one of those, it might happen! It definitely hasn't happened. It's probably not going to ever happen.
I mean, we do have hackers to a point where they can just.
But that's different, right? You know what I mean? Like, if the hacker's doing it, it's not the AI at that point, it's the hacker.
So do you think an AI can stop it from being hacking?
I mean, technically, yeah, there is actually AI they're working on for that.
Like
but
that they.
That's not what I'm referring to. What I'm saying is, since it's predetermined if a hacker hacks into it, now the hacker's at fault, right? Not the AI, because the AI is just a machine.
Yeah.
It's like saying it's the bridge's fault that broke, when really it's just the guy who designed the bridge. Like, you can't. People know, because this is actually a fun fact. It's really intriguing, actually. They like, every time something tragic happens with a program, they like to blame the program and not the programmer, because sci-fi has trained people to believe that programs can just evolve rapidly out of control and that there's nothing they can do about it. But the reality of the fact is sometimes the programmers actually intentionally program it to do things that it's not supposed to. And they don't get at fault for it. And they don't get fault at it because people are convinced that's how programming works. And I'm a programmer, and I can tell you that if it's an AI that is pre-programmed, there's no way in heck it should just malfunction and start doing something it shouldn't.
You just said a bad word.
Unless you program it the way it's said.
You just said a bad word. Yeah, but you know, heck is between hell and F word.
Yeah, exactly. I just combined the two. But, I mean, we got some.
So that's a double curse.
Exactly. Glad you understand.
I never thought of it as the combination of the two words. I always thought it was just like what it is.
So you know, you can always edit this out, but like, you know, hell, heck.
Yeah. See, I did a hybrid cuss right there. See, you thought I was just trying to cover up my cussing, but really I was trying to show you what a wide vocabulary of cussing does. So like, next time your teacher says, and you just keep saying like the F word, he's like, you need a wide vocabulary. Like, oh shit, you're man, you're right. Like, gosh damn it. Like, and just cussing you, like, you're right, and then be like, man, I just keep using the F word. Thank you for reminding me that there's other cuss words I can use.
So if
It'll piss him off, but he'll probably laugh afterwards, I'm sure. He's like, come on, let's go. That's
so if
funny.
the F word is a bad word, what are good words? What's a good word?
Know.
It's just-
I mean, it's just words. What makes them so bad?
Well, do you know what the F word means, by the way?
Okay, we might have different definitions, but you go ahead.
Okay, first off, the definition has evolved, of course. But the original definition, it was, well, look up the historical definition. You just look up the definition, it might be different. It used to mean a legal consent for rape. I'm not even kidding you. It would be declared by the king, and you could rape anyone. And if you were taken over, if you were grabbed by anyone or seized by anyone, you just showed him that you had fuck. If you had fuck, then that meant that you're legally allowed to rape.
I'm sorry, I'm just not used to
And that's why, like, when someone says, I don't give any fucks, it basically means I'm not giving you a pass on any of this bullshit. Because that's what the king would do. He would just turn a blind eye as you rape people. That's what fuck was. It was a legal declare of rape. Right here, it just says, has sex with somebody, ruin or damage an act of innocence of having sex. Down here, it's jarter?
I don't know.
Oh, that's Spanish, my bad. Well, now I'm gonna look up.
How do you say fuck in Spanish?
Is
yeah.
I thought you would know.
Well, I mean, I work around a lot of Spanish people, so I just kind of catch on when they're like, pinche pendejo, or you know, when they say stuff like that.
Fuck is in the thought to have existed. 15.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a word, right? I mean, I just never understood what makes it bad. It doesn't hurt anybody, does it? Unless you're
I
sensitive.
don't really think so. I think it's just society, you know, like whatever society says. Because I guarantee you go to like freaking Britain or whatever, like it's just like, but they say it all the time. It's just like it's in between every other word. So like, it's, you know,
Yeah,
it's like nothing over there.
I just don't understand. Like, I just always wondered. Yeah, you know, fuck is a bad word, but what's a good word? You know, word, not phrase. Have a good day. Thank you. You're welcome. The other good words.
I think good words would be like words that
What's the opposite of?
virgin.
Oh shit.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about the Ferris wheel?
No, definitely not on a podcast. I am comfortable with a lot of things, but that is one of the few things I'm not comfortable with. I only tell the closest people I'm with about that. I hate when like when you open up a link and it gives you just the portion that you're about to want to read. It's like, it originated, the earliest record of this word is, you gotta click on the link, and then it's like not even the first thing you see. You gotta like keep scrolling to find it. I already gave up. I don't know where it is in this freaking page. It's Wikipedia, and it was about to tell me what the original meaning of its earliest original known meaning was.
Like the origin?
But yeah, no, I know for a fact that was something that happened, because I think they even reference it in Game of Thrones, if I recall, because the king gives a few people books. And of course, they're allowed to just grab people when they want and just start doing this, and they don't get in trouble for it. It's really weird shit back in those times. It was a medieval time, it was like 16th, 17th century, not 15th. Obviously, as I told you, it's not from that period.
Anyways, so has it ever occurred to you that the alphabet doesn't have to be in order?
Yeah, but it doesn't have as much as a rhythmic rhyme to it.
But does it have to rhyme?
It's easier to remember that way.
So technically, you don't have to. There's no rule saying that it has to be A, B, C, in that order.
I mean, it's not really the alphabet though. It's just letters.
Exactly. It's the same thing with the alphabet, like, you know.
No, like A.
You only say that because you're not used to it.
B. No. Like, listen. A, B, C.
Yeah, alphabet.
No, hear me out. D, E. Okay, you see how that?
Yes.
F.
You.
F. See how I went and it kept, and then as soon as I got to F, it stopped.
Yeah.
F, J. So, sorry, J, K. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I see what you're going from, but like we were only taught that, you know.
We were taught that
as we were
because
growing
it's
up.
a good way to learn.
So what about in our parallel universe? You think it'll be like a different set of order?
Maybe.
C, Y, X, W.
Maybe backwards. Yeah, that's the
Yeah, or backwards.
Yeah.
Well, maybe like you could take, because like obviously it doesn't rhyme all the way through. You have rhymes and then it
Yeah.
stops and it starts over again.
But that's
Or
our
sometimes they put one letter that doesn't really rhyme with anything in between, so it doesn't like
Oh, Q.
break off the flow. Well, like for example, I just realized I was like, wait a minute, F doesn't really rhyme with anything. It's just thrown in there because they couldn't pair it with anything. But you break off all the other condoms and you can sort it however you want. That could be an alternate version of it.
Yeah, so some other world. Can
But
have
it's
that.
statistically more likely that they're gonna say it in a way that rhymes.
Because it's easier to remember as kids, you know. So yeah, but technically it doesn't. There's no rule saying that it has to be in order. So I can start with F, W.
No,
Z,
but the F alphabet's
A.
defined by its order as well. So at that point, it's just letters. It's like saying the quick brown fox jumped over the. Jumped over the lazy dog.
So that sentence has every single letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would just be like, say the letters, and that was you repeat them. But at that point, you wouldn't call the alphabet, you just call it letters. You can't call it ABCs either, because you would have to start with ABC. But I guess you could do ABC and then some other bullshit afterwards. That would work too, because then it would still be ABC being first. No, you call it letter order. In that case, or a Lexis. What was it called?
A lexicon?
A lexicon. You'd call it a lexicon, which is a vague way of saying what is actually are. Like you don't say Mexican alphabet. You just say like the Mexican lexicon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like lexicon is what you're referring to, but the alphabet is by defined its English in a specific order.
Right. Another thing that's been bothering me was, you know how we say 22, 33, 44, 55?
Yeah, I know where you're going.
So what
with
about
that.
11? Why not 1T1?
1T1.
1T1, 22,
No, you'd
33.
say 10, 1, 2, 1. Sorry, 10. So you say 10, 1, 10, 2, 10, 3, 10, 4, 10, 5.
Yeah, I mean, that logic.
Because think about it, you go 21, 22, and then each 10 place has its own sound. So you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80.
So,
And they all kind of sound like the original number, but then you add like indeed to it.
so 1T1, 1T2, 1T3, 1T4, 1T5, 1T6, right? Instead of saying 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't say 10, you would say 1T, and then you say 1T1, 1T2, 1T3. Yeah, That makes more sense.
Like,
I think what it was when they were creating the numbers, they planned on like making different sounds for each of it. But then they're like, wait, about 13. They're like, this is no, about 12. They're like, this is stupid. We gotta find a more efficient way of doing this. But they didn't want to scrap anything. They just kept going. That's what people do. They're like, I don't want to restart now. We already went this far. Let's just keep going.
oh my god.
So now we have those. I've thought about that, and I remember as a kid having such a hard time getting 11 and 12 they're separated, and we're thinking, I can count past that. Everything's fine. Why is it just so stupid? And I can count my tens. Why is it that 11 and 12 so different from 10 and 13? Like, it's so stupid. And I'm so mad about it too.
Like, where's the philosophy in that, you know? Like, who invented that anyway?
Maybe it's the screw up with zero, people counting from zeros that kind of shifted everything over.
Maybe it's more philosophical. Like maybe 11 and 12 are different because puberty makes you different around that age.
Oh my gosh.
And then the reason why they named all the 1Ts teens is because they wanted to describe kids that were like around that age. So like, what do we call them? Teens, 13, 14,
Yeah.
15.
Yeah, I see. I mean, no, it does make sense. Yeah, he's right.
No, though, like counting comes before the age, you know what I mean? It's like the chicken before the egg argument. Which comes first?
Oh my god.
Bacon.
The what?
I'm with him on that one. Bacon does come first.
I don't understand. Explain for our viewers.
Bacon's really good and eggs are meh.
So
It's not complicated, just eat the bacon first.
you want to eat? Wait, want to eat anything?
Are you bacon? Oh, you're electric bacon, yeah.
Awkward.
I eat people. I'm cannibal. I live in the mountains and I cook my sister.
Who sounds like that? There's just some
Mountain
Doers,
mountain livers, hillbillies.
also like a Kyle.
I am the Terminator.
from Alabama.
I never understood Alabama and like Louisiana.
Incest?
You know, people with incest. Like, how do you make love to a family member? That's just doesn't that like?
You get really close with them. And you
Yeah,
do
but like,
it. Like you're all alone, you got no one around, feeling like you want to have some funky donkey, but you know you don't
so
got any.
do you think God will allow that?
I mean,
He literally like says, no, don't do that in the Bible itself. I'm like,
it used to happen all the time when you think about it. But then,
Oh, yeah.
like, it got weird after a while.
So everyone's not going to heaven then, right? That's what you're saying.
Because everyone's irrelevant.
So technically we are related, right? Brothers and sisters.
But
Adam
it's
and
like
Eve.
very distant.
We all come from the same mother and father, Adam and Eve. So technically we're all brothers and sisters? Or?
I think God kind of changes the world because he realized how much drama it caused. He's like, I didn't change my mind on this, but you're acting really stupid now. Freaking your family members. So you know what? Just stop doing that shit, please. It's weird.
I mean, I think
Because
it's
there are
just, like,
several Bible stories where like the whole relationship with the family and the intercourse caused some like major
Dude,
drama.
that's just sick, man. Stuff
Like
that.
Abraham and his sister, he would like go places and be like, oh, it's just my sister, and then they'd be like, wait, it's also your wife. You didn't tell us that, and it creates some weird ass drama there.
I think it just came from people that like really were just too lazy to go to the next town to find a wife. Because like I swear there was some passage where like I think Adam and Eve lived their two sons go to like over to the next town to find wives. But I'm like, wait, weren't they the only people at the time? But then I thought maybe he could just create more people, and like the intention was just go mix more genes, you know, create a society. But then that gets me thinking. Lazy people exist in a society, and so when you got lazy people, they're not gonna want to get out of their hometown. So what do they do when they stay in their hometown? They start looking at their cousins, you know, a little freaky. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, no, for sure. I totally agree with that. No, I think them going out. So there's a lot of theories on where those other people came from.
So many theories.
Mine's kind of that Adam and Eve had other children and other sons that went out, and since they lived for a long ass time at that period, they just took them a while to go back out there. Get some things.
What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if Eve never took the bite from the apple?
Then we wouldn't have still.
So we wouldn't be alive today, right? Or we would still.
We'd still be alive, but like, I don't
everything would be like
Would it be
Perfect.
overpopulated at that point? I don't. Didn't they like not die?
we would be perfect.
Let's see. Well, I mean, if you read Revelations about the whole plan that God has for Jesus to come down and then establish a new earth and all that jazz, I think the intention was it was supposed to be with Adam and Eve. You know, like yes, populate the earth, do all this stuff.
Well,
But then the whole sin and the whole Jesus coming down thing wasn't supposed to happen. Although I mean, he had a contingency plan. But the thing is though, is that like the whole thing was like it was supposed to happen with them and their children, but then like
I think he sees the future, you know, so he had to know it was gonna happen.
well, I mean, of course.
My
yeah.
question is, if it were to happen, how was that gonna go down? My idea is that
That's for us to figure it out as humans.
well, no, like apparently we weren't gonna die if we hadn't eaten the fruit, so I guess it would have just been heaven on earth.
Basically,
But the
right?
description of even the Garden of Eden does not sound as amazing as heaven. So that just leaves me so confused. Like obviously he wanted us to go to heaven.
for a reason.
Were we just gonna get transported to certain? Were we just gonna ask to go to? Like it's so confusing to me. Because heaven's like the new Garden of Eden, but it's like way better, way bigger. You know what I mean?
Like from what I've read, like he doesn't specifically say heaven. He says new heaven and a new earth. So like
Yeah.
The afterlife.
Yeah, like the afterlife. But I think it's either gonna be in the afterlife or maybe like we all just pretty much get isekai'd into like just a brand new
Oh, so you're
universe
saying-
in a
Yeah.
way, you
So
know?
we might what's that word? Resurrect into a new world.
Yeah.
So we can be born as a snail or a chicken nugget randomly or a tree.
Well, I mean, I don't think he was
He's gonna make a new body for us. I want to be a fucking chicken nugget. Come on,
so
man.
we can reincarnate as another human being in another world.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah. Because I
actually-
mean, he did make us in his image, so I'm pretty sure he wants to keep that image.
He wanted to talk about this. He wanted to talk
Yeah.
about our nature when we go to heaven. Do we still sin? And I
No.
tried explaining it to him about that.
So yes. So you know how
I'm gonna go
So-
grab a drink. You go ahead and talk about this.
I guess.
Y'all keep talking.
Okay, so anyways, I don't know what about it, but I just find it so fascinating that you know how in heaven you have to be perfect. You cannot lie, you cannot cheat, you cannot steal, nothing, none of that. So who's the father of all lies?
Oh, Satan, of course.
Okay. And do you know what's the meaning of purgatory?
Not exactly.
So basically, so also for the viewers that don't know what purgatory is so sinners go to a certain place where you wash up in lava or something like that. So basically, yes, purgatory is like your only way to redeem peace with God in order for acceptance to be accepted into heaven.
I don't know. When I went to Judgment House, they always had a purgatory, and that's where you were judged.
No, it's basically where you're trying to like forgive, just trying to like redeem all your sins and like just trying to make peace with God.
That's
be accepted.
that's kind of what I believe, but you don't get a choice, and I think you had your chance when you were alive. You're just there to hear your sentence, whether
So-
you were cleared your charges before you died or whether. So I've heard of purgatory. I know what purgatory is. Purgatory isn't an exact description. It basically just means the point after death before before the decision on where you go. Yeah. That's the broad term. So what he's saying is technically right. What I'm saying is technically right. It's just the place in between, we should call it.
Purgatory. A place or state of suffering inhabited by the souls of sinners who are expiating their sins before going to heaven.
Wait, it says the
Read it again. So you have to pay your
in
sins.
Roman Catholic doctrine. And then there's another one below that. It says having the equality of cleansing and purifying.
So like your soul?
Oh, purgatory is similar to purging or purge. Oh, purgatory. Oh, that's Spanish. I like how yours automatically pops in with Spanish. Like mine doesn't do that.
I'm Mexican, remember?
Yes. So is he, and his doesn't pop up with that either.
But
That's why I was like, how does he know you don't?
But yeah, once you're in heaven, and so everything has to be perfect. You cannot lie, you cannot cheat, you cannot steal, right? So say you're into heaven and then you disagree with someone, and you thinking
Yeah.
about lying.
On Wikipedia, it's a little bit different.
Like, do you stay into heaven, or do you God sent you to hell because you lied once, or you cheated once, or you stole once? You know.
Well, I mean,
How do you think Lucifer went to hell? Because he disagreed with something, right? You know.
So like, and I thought about that too a lot because the whole fact that Satan or Lucifer, wasn't. Yeah, he used to be like the main like worship leader, and then like he wanted that worship for himself, and that made him fall off because he didn't become. Yeah, he just became like imperfect. Yeah, he became imperfect in God's eyes, so he wasn't allowed to be in there. So to me, I was thinking about that. So that implies that. Yeah, that means like, so we still have our freedom, our free will. We still have the freedom to like make our own choices up there, and that even the possibility of disagreeing and such is still possible up there. And I was thinking too, from what I've learned, is that it's our sinful nature from this broken world that we live in because of the whole apple. Why we have these sinful tendencies, like we wanna, we just wanna have sex with everything. We wanna lie, we wanna cheat, we wanna do all these things. You know what I mean. It's all kinds of immorality that's against God's eyes. Yeah, like all just jokes aside. I forget how it's going. Okay, yeah. So the whole thing with lying in heaven, like, I mean, so the way I see it is that whenever you're over there with because with the blood of Jesus, like your sins are washed clean, but when you actually go into that place, it's gonna be your spiritual self. It's not gonna be your physical self where it's just like filth from the world. It's gonna be like exactly how God intended you to be, but you still have your free will, so you can still make your own choices. Of like whether you want to disagree or whatever. But like the way heaven works though, you're most likely not gonna want to disagree or whatever, because again, it's based on your own free will that you wanna be exactly who God wants you to be. But again, you still have that freedom to think otherwise. And I think with just being in His presence and being within His people, we're all just like working for each other, with each other. I think like unless you like Lucifer, unless you really want to like just kind of become God Himself, because every sin is basically creation trying to be the creator, right? And that's why God makes it so. He emphasizes so much that we must be submissive to Him, because I mean who are we, creation, supposed to try to antagonize or challenge or try to become the Creator Himself? I mean like He made us. What kind of word do we have to say against what He says?
So what about atheists?
Can I get a pitch on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
What's your thoughts about this?
Yeah, well, I told him a while back kind of what I thought. Basically, I kind of believe similar to what Chris believes, but I believe that we get a new nature. We still have our free will, but it's kind of like the equivalent of how like a mathematician is really good at doing math, but we're not because we don't. Maybe because we have handicaps, or maybe we have a hard time getting that. Basically, I don't think we will have like the ability to lie because it's not going to be like accessible there. It's kind of like Adam and Eve. I don't know if you realize this, but Adam and Eve had that nature that we were supposed to have, which means they didn't have the knowledge of good and evil. They didn't think about doing wrong, but they didn't really see you doing wrong. And they ate the apple and they could see what is good and what is bad. And that's what created the sin. What I believe is we'll have a similar nature in heaven, where we won't think to say things that won't even cross our mind because it's out of reach. We don't know it's there. It's almost like ignorance. They say ignorance is bliss. I think this is what it will be like on heaven. We'll just kind of forget what sin is, and it won't cross our minds because it's just not there. You can't tangibly grab it because it's gone. It's just like some people have a hard time tangibly grabbing the infinite pie. You're never gonna reach that because it's not in reach. It's gone. So you'll still have your freedom of choice. It's more like the choice is gone. You don't have to make the decision anymore. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my way. Yeah, it does. Because it says we'll have a new nature, and we'll have a new body, and everything will be made new after life. Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, if that's the case, then that would mean that I will no longer think or say the things that I would normally do.
So why do you think we have atheists who don't believe either God or Satan?
It's it could be for a variety of reasons, whether
each to their own.
Yeah, that's each to their own. Because like a lot of like the main examples they see are because of they get offended by anything, you know, like not just particular parts of the Bible, or it's just that they just don't agree with it, and therefore they don't want to believe in it. Others is just that, you know, they see how as mankind, you know, see how far we've gone in society and technology and stuff, and they don't see a real reason to believe in such like an old theology, you know. And another is just kind of its effect from, you know, I like to call a lot of people God's fan base, because you know you got like because like with any fan base, you know, there's just toxic fans, you know, and with a lot of Christians, you know, you got a lot of those folks on both ends of the political and social spectrum. There's like super crazy, you know, they're just, you know, they're like just the kind of Christians you don't want to be around, you know, like, but they're so like popularized in the media that, like, you know, we just paint this picture of them. And a lot of them too are like have their parents, you know, be like these radical Christians, and they just, you know, impose their beliefs on their child, and then like because of that they want to turn away from that because they kind of link this whole belief system with all the negativity that they see from their parents and beyond.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that it's just kind of a tangent. That's why I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I had a friend, still boggled by what he believed in. He was an atheist. Get this, a Satanist. The hell. He thinks the devil's a fourth dimensional alien that helped create Earth. I'm as confused as you are.
So he must be thinking about Lilith.
I don't know. All I know is he telling me that.
So you know how about Lilith. I'm sorry, Lilith. Lilith was the first woman on Earth instead of Eve.
I was just gonna explain what he told me. He didn't tell me anything like that. He basically said that he came down and advanced our evolution, and that everything already existed the way, you know, evolution says it existed. But the reason we're so smart than every other creature is because the devil from a fourth dimension advanced us. Go ahead.
So I was told, like, by a lot of people growing up, that Lilith was the first human being, well, female, and that God asked her if she wanted, you know, be in the gardens of heaven or go do something else. And then she chose not to be with Adam, so Adam got lonely, and that's whenever he had to cut his kidney in order to make
his rib.
woman.
Rib.
His rib.
I mean,
in order
gosh,
to
I think it kidney stuff.
in order to make the perfect woman, so that's whenever Eve was born, and that's how it all started. So that's how I was told that Lilith was the first female, and then came Eve.
Isn't Lilith a name from an anime?
I mean, I know this YouTube channel I'm subscribed to called Lilith Chan.
I do know that one,
yeah.
but wasn't it? I suppose it's Black Clover.
It sounds like it would definitely come from the anime, but I don't think
I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, he said that, and I turned to him and I turned my head and I'm like, so you don't believe in God and spirituality, but you still believe in the devil? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, how the heck does that work? I was like, well, I mean, he's still all powerful, but he's not a god, so I don't believe in God. He's a fourth dimensional alien. He can move through space and time. And I was like,
well,
what?
but
then, like, how is he the devil? It's like, because the fourth dimension is where hell is. And I'm like,
I'm trying to think of it kind of like a sci-fi multiverse kind of thing. Like,
I mean, that's where he was
yeah.
coming from for sure. Like, I'm like positive that's where he was coming from, because the way he was explaining it is like, if you know what the fourth dimension is, just for the context, it's not like a separate universe or a separate reality. It is where the laws of physics are a little bit different. It's almost like you have an extra layer of depth. And these beings, when they enter our universe, can interact with our universe the same way that we three-dimensional beings interact with a 2D environment. We can kind of just grab it, move it around, and shit, and we can like fold things the way we want to, redesign things the way we want to. So the idea is these fourth-dimensional beings can be the same way for a three-dimensional environment. So what Q is essentially saying is, because he's so advanced, he kind of just picked one of us three-dimensional creatures and evolved us beyond that point, and then stepped back from the three-dimension back to the fourth dimension, and he just watches over us. And that when we die, I'm guessing, because he didn't finish explaining it, I'm guessing he takes the soul and takes it to hell for whatever. I don't know. So yeah, he told me he was an atheist Satanist, and I was like, that seems conflicting, right?
Yeah, how can you be an atheist? So atheist means you don't believe neither nor God or Satan.
Yeah.
But you also believe in Satan.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does that work?
I mean,
Because he believes that,
that doesn't sound right.
So a god is, by his definition, by him explaining it, is like a god's like all powerful and he's the creator of the universe. The devil didn't create the universe, is what he believes. What he believes is the devil simply his first mission.
like just a really powerful alien from somewhere in the fourth dimension that came here and just did his thing. So I can kind of understand where he's coming from, being an atheist and just believing in this really powerful creature from some other dimension.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I get what you're saying, but still seems conflicting. I would just say I'm an atheist and I believe in fourth dimensional beings. That seems more reasonable than saying you're a Satanist atheist.
Sound like you're a psychiatrist.
Kind of rhymes there, doesn't it?
Just like the alphabet.
Ah.
So do you think Satan has connection with aliens?
I mean, influence them maybe, but I mean, I think that dude's just trying.
By
to
technical
down
definition, the devil is an alien because he's not from Earth.
I thought he was an
I mean,
angel.
true.
That's
A fallen angel.
to think about it. What's an alien? The actual definition of an alien.
I don't know.
Oh, it just means they're not from Earth.
Or
They're
just
not from
like
the
not
original
from-
planet. So like if we go to another planet, we're aliens.
You know, or if I just, if I jump the border, I'm an illegal alien. So.
Exactly. See, that's how it works.
Because I know that Satan is a fallen angel.
Yeah.
And aliens, this is like an idea that we've been told.
Well, yeah. So like the point I'm trying to say is like the wide definition of alien, and actually this is the most simple terms actually, is when it's you're gonna look it up.
It's not native.
Yeah, it's not native. It crosses from one point to another. Like you said, illegal alien. Then you have extraterrestrial alien. You don't say alien. Alien's actually a very vague way of saying it. People just assume it's extraterrestrial. You say it of or from outside the Earth or its atmosphere. So it's just like it's just outside the atmosphere.
So the moon is an alien.
Ooh. But yeah, that's what I was trying to say. That's what it means. A hypothetical or fictional being from outer space, especially an intelligent one. So there are two definitions. So I'm not going to discredit you on that one. But one I'm talking about is the very first definition, which means it's outside Earth's general.
So if you're not born from planet Earth and you come visit planet Earth, you're basically an alien.
Oh my gosh, that's such a trippy way of thinking of it. But yes, you would be.
Like freaking.
I want to give birth to the first alien, guys. I gotta go to bars and have shit babies,
Why do you think Elon Musk is trying to build a civilization on planet Mars?
so we can be aliens.
Exactly.
The first Martians.
Exactly. The first,
We would. Whoever gets born on Mars would be a Martian. I've never thought of this. How crazy.
Guys, so this is new to you?
I mean,
well,
I
not-
know
not-
about
not
it,
new to
but I've
me.
never thought of it that way.
So you know
yeah.
how instead of so whenever in the future, I don't know when exactly in the future, but like I'm sure like whenever we have school for the future kids. Gosh, you okay?
Yeah, we're good. Just keep talking.
So I'm sure that they're gonna have to write their first name, the date, and
the planet they're
the planet they're from.
Oh
so, like,
my god.
So what planet you're from? What's your
Pacific region, Pacific.
yeah? So
And then if we go any further, we'll have to say what galaxy they're from and the planet.
The solar
that's like
system,
later.
Star chart or whatever.
No, they'll just give exact coordinates because at that point it'd be easier than telling them like galaxy.
That's why Elon Musk has children, and look what he named his first children.
How do you even
That
pronounce
was
that?
not his idea. That was his wife's idea.
That's going to be the start, the future of naming children from different planets. No,
You do realize that this was not his idea, right?
but that's his real name of the child.
Yeah.
So that child is going to be on planet Mars. He's going to have babies and families on planet Mars, and from that they're going to make another civilization on the next planet and the next planet to a point where we're going to expand to a different galaxy, to a different
on
universe.
his face. Actually, the way it's pronounced, I think it's Exia or something. So essentially,
Just know that that kid is going to planet Mars.
he's already born on Earth. So
Yeah, but that baby's children is going to be born on planet Mars.
So this is actually kind of code, if I recall, and it's deciphered into like a different thing. I forget what it is, but I heard that that's actually like cipher for something. That's what's supposed to be. I think it's like ELA or something simple like that.
Out of curiosity, I'm going to YouTube it.
Yeah, that's
Elon
your best
Musk.
bet. I just remember someone telling me that. That's actually
Children.
like some kind of cryptography thing. Not
Children.
cryptography, cipher thing. Cipher's a bit different than cryptography. Cryptography has to do with security and cryptocurrency.
Elon Musk, a man of many talents,
Oh.
including
Hey,
business,
cipher
engineering,
guys. So,
and
you know.
naming babies. Hi, folks.
Not
Today,
cool
I
Nova.
will try to explain the name of Elon Musk's new child. Let's jump right into it. I'm sure you all know by now that Elon Musk is a bit of a eccentric character. He and his partner Grimes went for a ride in the Model
He doesn't like
S3
it.
and X, if you know what I
He
mean.
said that.
And they had a child. What did they name it? Billy? Samuel? Close, but no. They named it. Now, obviously, the first question that comes to mind is, how are you supposed to say it? Well, as Twitter had fun with the name for a while, Grimes decided to tweet an explanation for the name, as we see here. X, the unknown variable. Ash, my elven spelling for AI. Love and/or artificial intelligence. A-12, the precursor to SR-17, our favorite aircraft. No weapons, no defense, just speed. Great
Why
battle,
she's defending
but
it,
not
Elon
violent.
is because Elon actually thinks it's
Plus,
a domain.
Archangel, my favorite song. And then we see a sword and a rat emoji. And beside that, we see the words metal rat.
Metal rat.
So you're telling me you're naming your child a rat? Well, keep in mind it is the year of the rat for the
Oh
Chinese
my
New Year.
God.
Although that doesn't excuse why you're naming your kid after a rodent. Elon
Maybe it's
went
after
on
the
Joe Rogan's
band.
podcast and helped clarify the answer. When Joe asked how do you pronounce it, Elon said, it's just X, the letter X. The AE is pronounced Ash, and the A12 is my contribution. Archangel is the precursor to the SR-71, the coolest plane in the world, in reference to the A12.
X-Ash.
So the conflict between Grimes and Elon is that Elon pronounces the AE as Ash, and Grimes pronounces it as AI. Either
Zai.
way, it doesn't.
So what does that tell you?
Ash AI.
There's already mistranslations in this new language.
Yeah, because
X.
like they clearly don't agree on the enunciation.
X.
I swore he said something else in the podcast. Like it actually sounded normal when he pronounced it, but maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think about that. We're at that point in the future that, you know,
I don't think this will be a reoccurring thing. This is just one of those one-off things where like, okay, some genius million philanthropist just decided to just name a baby a weird name, and people are like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then no one's gonna like copy it.
well, no, it's just the beginning of the future, just from different life and other planets. Does that make sense to you?
I know what you're trying to say, but the
Well,
way
no, that is it.
No. Okay, there is actual science behind trends, and that's how they can kind of predict the future of like what style will be. Like, for example, it's actually funny when you think about this. I'm going to bring this up because it's so perfect.
Go ahead.
Do you remember Back to the Future?
The show?
The movie.
The movie? No, I haven't seen
What show? What are you
Oh,
talking
there is a cartoon show of it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Anyways, in the number 2, they go to the future. It's cyberpunk. We have cyberpunk that just came out. It looks very similar to that. So we keep predicting our style is going to go in that direction. But guess what, guys? It hasn't. And the reason people keep thinking it's going to go in that way is because there's all this technology that we have. And people think we're just going to wear it out in public. And we don't. We wear it in private because we think it's weird. And we think we're gonna mix 80s style for some reason. I don't know why they keep thinking like the 80s is just gonna come back with this tech and
Aesthetic.
yeah, I know the aesthetic, but like the point I'm trying to make is we can kind of get a rough idea of where the styles are gonna go, but it's really hard to coordinate. The best way to figure out how a style is gonna come about, the best way to figure it out is trends. How quickly a style picks up. Who wears that style? How is it distributed between popular people? Will people pick up my idea on who does it?
That's
so, for
why-
example, if all the rich, crazy people that like, live in Hollywood and do a lot of like drama bullshit, like the Kardashians start naming their children like Elon Musk, yeah, it probably will be the future of naming babies, even on Mars.
I was gonna say that's why we have TikTok.
Yeah. It actually does change our style. I've noticed like TikTok has definitely influenced how people dress and shit, do their makeup and stuff. So yeah.
Also seeing a lot of TikTok stuff about transgenders and that's where vegetarian comes in.
Wait, what?
Transgender and all that. Like how many
Pretty sure
genders?
it's against that? I might be wrong. But...
Like how many genders do you think there are? There's only 2 genders.
I mean, I've actually
Right.
decided that there's technically 3, because then you have the weird mutation that's kind of 2.
Oh, the hermaphrodites.
Yeah, like I consider that a gender.
Oh yeah, it's like you have a spoon, a fork, and you have a spork.
No, you have like nothing on the nut.
That's work was
You
just
can't
an idea.
use it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like the purpose of gender is to differentiate,
Species.
No, to differentiate reproduction. But if they don't reproduce, then they don't fall into either category. So there's reproducing, there's input and output. Input being male sperm and output being the baby. And then there's nothing. It's just a nub that you're trying to shove in there and it just doesn't work.
yeah. So we got HDMI, we got AV out, and then we got analog. Analog TV.
No, we got the power cable to a thing that doesn't turn on. No offense to any hermaphrodites out there, but we love our audiences. Oh, by the way, we gotta shout out our German audiences. I just wanted to briefly mention that. We looked at our analytics, it just completely changed. I think we briefly mentioned that we had Indonesia as our highest audience. It's now Germany by a significant, was it 5%?
I don't remember.
It was significant. I was very surprised. And we have an audience of 35 now, so like, I was a little intimidated. Like, we have an audience now. Like,
So you're
we
saying
might
that-
want to be careful what we say, but then again, if they're still watching my podcast, we probably shouldn't.
So you're saying
Yeah.
Germany is winning?
I mean, America's our highest audience still, but second, very, like, in my opinion, close second, is America. And I talked to our friend Josh, and he said he only told one person. He can't remember who it was. So that 50% other could be console, could be VR. We don't know.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
still
so-
thinking it's VR because you gotta play on the background, and that makes more sense on VR than it does on console.
Yeah.
So what?
So I was actually thinking the other day. I'm like, let's see. And the other thing that could probably fit into the 50% are like Roku's and stuff like that, because those aren't game consoles or computers and all or anything like that. So they would be considered as something else. I'm like, who's playing it on their TV?
Roku, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a podcast. I have a hard time seeing that on TV. You know what I mean? It makes more sense when you're playing games, but a lot of systems don't allow you to play with background. So what I'm thinking is, I still feel like it's VR, and since Josh plays on that a lot, because I was like, oh yeah, you told your give me a second. You told your Canadian friend. You told your Canadian friend about the podcast, right? He goes, no, I told someone else. He goes, I don't remember telling anyone else. And I just sat there and thought, he probably told other people. That dude's on there all the time. He probably just forgot.
Oh yeah.
I think he because they're like all over now. I mean, it's less than 1%, but it's still like one audience viewer, even if they just watched one video. And apparently we have 35 reoccurring viewers now. 36. Anyways, go ahead. Laundry bacon. Okay. I kind of cut you off earlier, I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, oh, I gotta say this before I forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to our German viewers. I don't speak German. We have a friend that kind of speaks German.
I know. I want a girlfriend who's German. German women are hot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
German women are freaking beautiful. Like,
Nice, tall, blonde, tough.
German girls.
yeah, I like out of all races, I feel like German women are like one of the beautiful species out there.
species.
Whoa. Starting to sound like Hitler at this point. Briefly mentioned that.
And then after German woman comes Russian, and then Russian comes Japanese woman.
Oh yeah, Japanese right there.
Oh my god.
I can't wait for a Japanese audience.
Oh my god. When we be speaking Japanese.
I might try to get you some like people on your podcast that don't know you. I'm pretty sure they'd be willing to do it. I want to do a VR YouTuber because they're really, a lot of them are really nice, and they're more than willing to like get on podcasts. And in fact, we might be able to do like a dual podcast, which means you'll both host your own podcast, but you'll already talk on YouTube. And there's one VR YouTuber I want you to watch, so you're kind of familiar with his content, and then we can talk to each other. I think he'd be willing to do it.
Hell yeah, we're getting Oompaville on here?
Oompaville. I don't know if I go that far. Oompaville is pretty cool, but that's yeah.
Would that be a challenge for you, like, to another podcast, or?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, it's new to him, but I've talked to YouTubers before. A lot of them are pretty nice, real chill. Some of them, like, they have a couple thousand, and they're like, I'm not that popular. I'm like, if you don't think that, it should be pretty easy to convince you to You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Problem is, they get a couple thousand, they go on a dry spell, so they're like, I don't have an audience. And then they do have an audience, just people watching every video you post. Because, like, people, if they're still notified and they see something really good, you will get shit ton of views.
Oh, which reminds me of this idea I've had. So recently,
Oh, that reminds me of something else. Go ahead.
Oh, that reminds me of something else too.
like recently we went on this really fun, really dumb, but it was still freaking fun adventure.
I heard
yeah.
about the toy collecting for McDonald's.
Yeah, so like we saw the movie Encanto. We wanted like it started off as a joke. I got a Happy Meal. We got a toy, and I'm like, or you're like, actually your girlfriend was like, why don't we just collect all of them? I'm like, you know what? Great idea. Let's do it. And then the freaking like 4 local McDonald's just like they didn't have all the toys. I even tried asking, hey, can I just get the whole toy set? And they're like, no, we only have 1 or we only have 2 here. And I'm like, what? You know, so we started going around, and then by like
Baytown, I saw pictures.
like yeah, we went all the way to like Laporte, Deer Park,
Oh
Pasadena,
my
Baytown, freaking Channel View, and I'm like, we went all over the place just to collect all. Yeah, like Galena Park, we went everywhere just to get the
Damn.
entire freaking set.
Okay,
Like,
next
most
time
of
we
the
are
trip-
going to that theater that's out in Houston, because
Well,
we
yeah.
drive by it all the time.
Well, yeah, like now I'm more confident because that entire drive got me like a better idea of how like all the roads and cities are connected. So like I'm like less scared of driving. But like all of it, Leslie, he hated it the entire time. 5 hours for 1 toy.
He hates car rides. He just told me that himself.
And
Absolutely hates them.
and that gave me an idea, another stupid idea. We're gonna go visit and take a selfie, not order anything. We're just gonna take a selfie at every single Chick-fil-A in Houston, and we're gonna compilate it all into one massive video.
We gotta do this at one at a time.
That reminds me.
I'll do it with you. I know the jobs and all that. But we gotta try it.
Yeah, Leslie's gotta come along. He's gotta bring the Christmas tree too, the ketchup tree.
I think
No, that's it. We put the Christmas tree in the photo and we take a picture with
Oh
it.
my god.
Wait, before you continue, I'm starting to lose my train of thought.
Oh my god.
Choo-choo.
Okay, before we mention now what we were talking about before, because it kind of helps me remember.
So what you were Mr. Beast did a similar video to them, like where he bought every single Snickers in every Walmart. Like he traveled across states to buy like every single Snickers.
Damn, we're just doing Houston area. What was I gonna talk about? Starting to mess me up there.
Talking about aliens.
No. What were we talking about before the toys? You guys were not talking. Y'all are not helping me. I'm losing my train of thought. Help me here.
So what did it involve?
Well, if I knew that, I'd be able to tell you. Can y'all not remember the last thing we talked about before
He was talking about German women.
Yeah,
His
our
preferences.
audience.
Then we talked about our audience, and then we talked about.
After that or before that?
VR chat.
Oh right, I was talking about people coming on the podcast and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I talked about people. And I talked about their analytics. Shit, I can't even remember, man. I was.
YouTubers when they think they're not very popular, but they
Yeah,
have like a
I
couple
already
thousand
mentioned
views.
that. Oh, now I remember, because I was talking about how, like, changing titles and all that. I found out that video you did, I was wrong. It's 1 year before Rick and Morty was even aired.
Oh, his video.
If you change the title, I want to do an experiment. Change the title, multi-interdimensional, I think it's called. Look up the name of the episode. I think it's multi-dimensional cable. And then in parentheses, before it was cool. And I want to see if it gets more views because of that being in the search algorithm.
But which video though?
The twin one.
Oh,
Where you're literally doing the exact same thing as Rick and Morty, where you're on a TV and you're flipping through and you do different skits. That's an actual episode of Rick and Morty. So I was like, oh, you must have been inspired by Rick and Morty. But me and Electric Bacon here looked it up and we were like, no wait, this is one whole year before it aired. Like exactly a whole year before it was released. And I was like, they stole his idea. But you gotta say before it was cool and see if you get, I bet you, even if it's like 10 seconds, you will get more clicks just from that title.
I think you should do it.
And you're allowed to change titles and it won't update the time, it'll just change the title. So it's perfect. You do that and then you get something.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and just wrap things up over here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a good podcast, man.
Hell yeah, it was.
I thought, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna sound kind of weird, but I thought
Gasp.
Well, if you think so, our viewers can always go back to the podcast and have a listen to whatever they want.
sorry, yeah.
But then again, this was a fun podcast. I had fun.
Yeah, I had fun too.
A lot of interesting ideas popped up. I don't know if our viewers will agree with us. Each
We're
to
good.
their own.
Oh, by the way, we're on this podcast because eventually we wanted to promote our channel that Electric Bacon we're gonna work on. We're gonna do crazy stuff. We're gonna try to do like 1,000 sparklers in a Pringles can.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So I have a YouTube channel called Electric Bacon. Where also post music. So we're going to do a lot of videos. So stay tuned, guys.
Alrighty, so this is the trio, Mr. Nobody, Electric Bacon, and Asiago, signing off on 3 AM Thoughts. Have you a good night. Yeah.